Good evening, Shalini ma'am. How are you?
Good evening. How are you? So good to see you.
So lovely to see you. I'm so
Thank
thankful
you.
you're doing this for us, and
Thank
I'm sure the teachers will be very enriched by the end of this program. Such a
I
pleasure
really
to
hope
connect
so.
with you on this platform.
I know. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really humbled.
It's our pleasure, ma'am. It's our pleasure for all the teachers who've joined in and who don't know. Shalini ma'am has been my teacher in school days also, and
So,
it's lovely to have you here, ma'am.
thank
And
you.
the
Thank
topic and the topic for today does more justice since you are
uh
taking it. Are you a teacher or an educator? And throughout you've had
Yeah.
such a big impact in my life. I'm so grateful
Yeah.
for that. Thank you so
Thank,
much.
I'm so humbled. Thank you so much. This is my biggest award.
Vice versa, ma'am. So vice versa. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So we have teachers joining in as we speak. Just to give you
Sure.
a brief about the CC Fridays, it's a weekly get together of all our teachers across the three schools, the teachers
Sure.
at Varanasi, Nasik, and Lava Nagpur. And this
Okay.
was an idea that started during the lockdown for teachers to share and educate each other different technological tools, and then it kind of moved on
Sure.
to become something more. And we've continued the ritual, and it's a
Right.
beautiful platform for sharing amongst educators.
Yeah.
And we are so
Yeah.
privileged to have people like you coming and talking to us, educating us, enriching us on a Friday
Right.
evening. Thank you so much for doing this. I think we are about 2 minutes
Thank.
away to start with ma'am's session.
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
We are about 70 of us joined in already, and more are joining in. So, in another 30 seconds, you can start with ma'am's introduction and then hand it over to Shalini ma'am to take the session.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. It gives me immense pleasure to and honor, of course, to introduce Miss Shalini Nambiar,
Sure.
Director, Principal, Seth Anandram Jaipuria School, Vasundhara. Shalini ma'am is a progressive visionary with a liberal outlook who does not stay shackled with the pedagogy of stereotype and conventional expectations and schemes of things that bind an educator. Very much with the times, she believes that education should be essentially child centered and aimed at nurturing the child and not imposing facts, figures, and theories in the name of education. Lady Shriram College is her alma mater, and she is IB qualified as well. She has a rich 30 plus years of experience in education and has been associated with various names like GD Goenka Public School, the Heritage School, Excelsior American School, and GEMS Education. Her unconventional vision and wisdom find roots in her attempt to break stereotypes that education is pinned down with. The outcome, she believes, is not knowledge, but a stack of degrees that provide employment. And this is the domain where she has worked intensively to bring about a change. Moving ahead with the belief that education, when imparted in its true spirit, has the power to change the world. In recognition of her pioneering ideas and beliefs, awards and laurels keep coming her way. To mention some, shortlisted among the top 10 innovators in education 2020 at GESS Dubai, Excellence in Leadership 2018 by Education Today, felicitated by at Mauritius for Outstanding Leader 2018 in June 2018, felicitated at Sri Lanka with Excellence in Education in June 2018, and held a workshop for the Sri Lankan government school teachers. Magica and Entrepreneurs Angel Award 2017, which was awarded on 19th November at Gurgaon. Outstanding Leader of the Year 2016 award in May 2016 at Franchisee India. Women Leaders Icon in Education awarded on 20th August 2015. Glory of India Award at Bangkok in June 2013. Rashtriya Shiksha Award 2013 by Friendship Forum of India. Bharat Shiksha Award 2012 by the Economic Social Council of India. Innovative Educator Award 2012 by the Associated Chambers of Commerce and Bal Bharti Academy. Excellence in Education Award for so many years, sponsored by Times Research. Indira Gandhi Women Achievers Award 2011 by Human Resource Ministry. Rajiv Gandhi Excellence Award at Delhi on 8 September 2010. International Gold Star Award at Bangkok on 28 May 2010. Bharat Jyoti Award in Education on 25th May 2010. She has been covered by a leading magazine, Suburb, as one of the 4 most influential women in Gurgaon. She has published numerous articles, and her article, I Love You Mom, has been published in the Chicken Book series For the Mom. She has been a key speaker in many workshops and international conferences. Her varied interests include adventure sports, mountaineering, writing, and music. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Looking forward to your session. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, Anupma. Good evening, everybody, and send a copy of that to my mother-in-law. So a very good evening to everybody, and I'm very excited to take this session and to connect with you all. So I am basically a storyteller, and don't go in with all these awards. What is more important for me is how Mr. Gautam recognized me and remembered me as a teacher. That is my biggest award. And the topic for today is, of course, are you a teacher or an educator? I will probably speak a mix of Hindi and English, because we want to have some fun. So don't sleep, because we're going to have a lot of fun and make you realize and reflect on who we are. So I want to share a PPT which I just created a little, this thing. Just let me open it. Yeah. Can you see the PPT? Anupma, are you able to see?
Yes, we are able to see.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I'll just put it on the screenshot. I'll keep sharing and removing it because I like to see faces. So of course the question is, are you a teacher or an educator? Before we start, I want to know, what is your current mood? How, if you were to, identify your mood with a color, what is the color it would be? You get 30 seconds, just write it in the chat. I want to know what is the kind of color you're feeling right now. How do you identify yourself with that particular color? Just write it in the chat. Pink, Ekta, Sangeeta, sky blue, Priya, pink, Sushmita, green, Mukesh, green, blue, pink, green. Wow, I love it. Nobody is saying black and red. I'm wearing red. Thank you, Kiran. Red, blue, blue, blue. Thank you all so much. Yeah, pink, always happy. Very nice. That is very, very important, that how you feel at the moment. So thank you all so much. Let's just go back. What is the dictionary meaning of a teacher? Teacher ko hum guru bolte hain. We call them a guru, and we know how the position of a teacher has changed over the years. If I go back to the time I was being taught, thank you all so much. I love the way somebody has said white, blue, white. So thank you all so much. Time over now. I'm a bad teacher. I stick to the time. So time is over now. What is important to understand, that what is the difference between the time I was taught? I'm not going to tell you when I went to school, because then you'll know my age. And what is the way we are teaching today? Isn't it the same? We are still having children sitting, looking at the blackboard. Still, we are teaching the same way. And we attend so many workshops. We talk about 21st century skills. So what is most important is to understand what is a teacher. A teacher is a one that teaches, especially one this is a dictionary meaning, whose occupation is to instruct, versus an educator who's skilled in teaching. Teacher. That is a very important, it is a calling, it is a passion. I'll tell you a little bit. I'm going to stop sharing because I want to see you all. What is very important to understand, I want to tell you how I entered education. So हम college में थे LSR में, and you know how Lady Shri Ram College was my dream in school and college. यहीं पे जाना है, best college of Delhi at that time. And when I entered the college, my dad thought because I had got 99 marks in eco in 12th that I'm brilliant in economics. And you know, the decisions for us was made by our parents. You know, आप कौन सा subject लेंगे, आप क्या करेंगे? Nobody asked us कि आप क्या करना चाहते हैं. So I took economics and I cried every day for 3 years. And I promised myself that I don't want to study further. And you also know, I also know, अगर आप किसी बच्चे को in the primary school you ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? They all say teacher. When you ask a grade 7th and 8th, 9th, what do you want to be? They never say a teacher. Why? So, you know, you get so fed up of everything. So what I did when I passed out of college, there was a airlines which had come up with a job and I went and joined that. I didn't want to study further. And gradually time passed, 5-6 years passed. I got married. I had my daughter. And when I had my daughter and I started looking for schools around in Delhi, because us समय एक बड़ा funny system था. There was an interview and I used to wonder, my child, my money, I'm the parent, but I am being interviewed rather than me asking the school head, like, you know, I want to know what are you going to teach my child? So I decided I'll enter education because our system ko, if you want to change, you cannot change from outside. And I always wanted to create a very happy kind of an atmosphere in a school. So I started my journey as a music teacher. And when I entered education, I realized that what are the different, you know, what are the changes you can bring about? Teaching is a very passionate profession. I always tell people that when you enter this profession, it's not a profession where you can look at your watch and go, it's a 24/7 job. It's so much because you are making a difference in a child's life. A lot of time teachers, and you know, every teacher I've met so many teachers, a lot of them say we are not respected, right? That's a very important thing. But we have to reflect. Why are we not respected? Are we respecting our profession? Are we proud of who we are? So we have to reflect on ourselves. Teaching is a very, very passionate job. It's a very important job. It's a very noble profession. And we cannot ever think that we are there just for the time or just for this. We are there to make a difference in a child's life. Extremely important. So let's just go back to the screen, and forgive me because I like going back and forth. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So it isn't just a job to be, and it is a calling, it's a passion, a commitment, a desire to touch the lives of the children. Trust is the most important thing. You can do it. You are awesome. I trust you. Try telling this to the child. I'll give you a little example. Today, I was having a session with my children of, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. The topic was bullying. And I asked them, how many of you feel safe? And you wouldn't believe so many mouths opened up. So much of things are there. Are we really focusing on the holistic development of the child, or are we busy finishing the curriculum? You also know, and I also know, all the top companies are now saying we do not need a 90%er. We need somebody who can team bond, who knows how to collaborate, who can think out of the box. Are we teaching the children that? I'll tell you a little story. So there's a small child who studies in a small village school, and he goes to this class, and the art class is going on. And I'm sure you can relate to this in a lot of ways. So the art teacher says, let's draw. So the child starts drawing and he enjoys, he loves to draw. Then the teacher said, let's color. So he starts coloring the color of his choice. And then this goes on for 5-6 years. And then his dad is transferred to a big city, and he goes to a big school with big gates. And when he goes there, again, there is an art class going on. And the teacher says, let's draw. So he starts drawing, but the teacher says, no, I'll tell you what to draw. So the child wonders, why can't I draw? I know how to draw, and I want to draw what I like. But the teacher says, no. And then the teacher says, let's color. He starts coloring. and the teacher says, no, I'll tell you which color. Now, if you remember your own school days, we always remember a red rose and a green leaves, right? That was what was drawn on the board. We didn't know that flowers can be blue, orange, green because we were not allowed to draw. And this went on. And when the child came back after some years to the old village school, and the teacher said, let's draw in the same old art class, the child asked what? Because his capability of thinking for himself has been killed. He did not know. He could not do things on his own. He needed somebody to tell him what to do. And this is how we kill a child's creativity. We need to reflect as a teacher, what are we doing? Are we really making a difference in a child's life? You know, what is the fruit of education is not visible in 6 years or 7 years. It is visible when a man is 30. And is he able to handle failures? Does he know how to, you know, he's not always running, that you cannot always come first. So reflect as a teacher, what is it that you want to do? So when you tell a child, you can do it, you're awesome, I trust you, it makes a lot of difference. Every child deserves a champion. Try and hear her video, Rita Pearson. She's put up a lot of videos on Google, and it's really nice to see. I wish I could show you a video, but I think I would not at this moment. She says very clearly, every child deserves a champion, and adults who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best they possibly can. Now, reflect on this. I've come to believe that a great teacher is a great artist, and there are as few as there are any other great artist. Try and think of the story I told to you just now. Do you, I would like you to just raise your hand. Do you agree with that we kill the child's creativity in the school? Now, this is what I want you to reflect on. How do we do it? How do we change ourselves? Are we educating or are we teaching? There is a difference between the two. So let's just move on, and then I will tell you another story to make you understand. Now, what does a teacher do? Teacher explains how to do something, gives information, makes them understand, you know, induce by example. But what does an educator does? They illuminate, they enlighten, they inspire, they empower. If I was to ask you one question, that how many of you remember a teacher from your school time? Anybody? You remember your teacher? You can just raise your hand. Yes, Savita, can you say which teacher you remember and why?
I was from a convent school and I remember most of my teachers.
Okay. So what is that one thing? Why did you remember them?
One was Mrs. David. Because I was very bad in writing, she let me free, and every day she used to ask me to give 1 page of writing daily. She was very inclusive. She used to see me every day, and there came a point when my writing became very good. Right. I remember him still now for what she did for me.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Savita. So if you were to reflect, we generally remember the very good teacher and the very bad teacher. You know, we remember the good teacher because they made a difference in our lives, and a bad teacher because she was bad, so we remember her, but we do not remember an average teacher. And sadly, 70% of the teachers come into the middle category. We need to change that. What is it in a school that makes a difference? The difference is how you impact a child's life. Are you taking him from level B to level A, or are you taking him to level D to level, you know, the higher level? Because that is important. So thank you, Savita, because that is very, very important point, that what are the kind of teachers? I remember my Hindi teacher, and everybody laughs when I talk about her. I just disliked her because in grade 12th, I could not write kyonki, you know, the choti e ki matra, I could not write. She made me stand on the desk. You know how humiliated a child feels when you're standing in the desk when you're almost 17 years old, and I hated her. And till now, I wonder how that little Iki Matra would have made a difference in my life, because she told my father, this girl is useless, she cannot do anything in her life, just because I couldn't spell Kyonki. Aren't we judging the children? Aren't we giving them a certificate in the very early years of their lives, that you cannot do anything in your life? So we need to reflect, what is the kind of difference we are making? How are we impacting a child? And are we really making a difference in a child's life? Are we really inspiring a child? Are we really empowering a child? Are we creating that atmosphere, that environment? I'm not going to speak. You all are familiar with this. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires. We all know that. So we need to come into that category where the great teacher inspires. Being a teacher is easy. It's just like riding a bike. But sadly, the bike is always on fire. We all know that. We are daily what is teaching? I'll tell you a little story. So there's this teacher who was very unhappy, and she goes to a principal. She says, I'm totally unhappy. I don't know what to do. So the principal sends her to a monastery where there's a monk, and the monk gives her a spoon, and he puts 2 drops of oil in that spoon, and he tells the teacher, you take a round of the monastery and come back and tell me, what did you see? The girl, the teacher, she takes that spoon, she walks around, she comes back, and the monk asks, okay, what did you see? She said, I didn't see anything because I was focusing that the oil doesn't fall from the spoon. He said, you go again. You again have a look. She again goes and comes back. She sees huge halls, mountains, whatever, beautiful paintings, lovely trees, animals, comes back. So the monk says, now where is the oil? She says, I was so busy seeing the things that I forgot about the oil and it dropped, it spilled. And that is the job of a teacher, balancing the two. We have to know what are the children's likes, dislikes, what are their talents, and not put them into categories. I keep hearing this, that this child is brilliant. How are we judging the child? Through academics, right? What about the other skills? Can't a child be a good dancer? Can't a child be a good sports person? Can't a child be a good entrepreneur? The Instagram influencer today makes more money than a CEO of a company. Are we introducing, or are we just putting the kids into boxes, those fixed boxes, and telling them that unless you get 90% in math, you are dumb? So when I was in school, there were only 3 professions: engineer, doctor, failure. So if you're neither an engineer nor a doctor, you're a failure. That's what I remember when I was in school. But is it true? Isn't the world made up of different kinds of things? So how, as a teacher, we create that difference in a child's life is very important. I've had so many kids. I have met, lakhs and lakhs of children. And I have been in schools where the teachers have come to me, ye bacha ma'am kuch nahi kar sakta, bahut hi bigda hua hai. All the time he's going. And I have worked with those children and made a difference in their lives. And what is more important is, when we talk about personalized attention, every child is different. Then why do we teach all of them the same way? Why do we teach, if we are teaching 2 + 2 = 4, it is an agreed thing, right? At this moment, do you think things can change? So I'll tell you a little example. I think Gautam and Siddharth might know. So there was this kid in my class in grade 9th. I was a social studies teacher. He had come from US. Sumer Mali was his name. I still remember. So, the usual CBSE question in history. Okay, describe the Dandi March. He wrote in one sentence, Dandi March was the march in which Gandhiji walked with the Dandi. Now, was he wrong? Was he wrong? Tell me, was he wrong? He did march with the Dandi. So the child had his own thought process. He said, the Gandhiji marched with the Dandi, that's what I've written. You did not write, the questioning was wrong. I did not tell him what I expected of him, whether I wanted him to write 100 words, 200 words, what did I want from him? Write 5 features of a red fort. The child can write anything as per his perception. Why don't we encourage that? Why are we looking at everything through our eyes? The true educator, the true teacher is who's able to make the child think forward, think beyond, think out of the box. So let's just go back to the screen. I have little exercises also for you, which I would like you to do. So first, do you agree with this, that it's like riding on a... What motivates you? I want to know, what is it that made you become a teacher? Anybody, you can either raise your hand, unmute yourself and speak, or what is it that made you a teacher? Yeah, Harshal. You'll have to unmute yourself. Appreciation, inspired by mom, Yeah, very nice. To be with children, right? Yeah, you want to say anything, Harshal?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Ma'am, actually, it is my passion to be a teacher, and I always wanted to be in the class with students.
okay. That's
Yes, ma'am.
very nice. Teaching my daughter. Bharati, you want to say something?
Yeah, Jai Hind everyone. Ma'am, I never had any good teacher in my life. Like you said, many of the teacher they insulted me. Maybe I was the most average person, so I really wanted to be a very good teacher, and it should like inspire others. So someone will be telling that I want to be a teacher like me. That
Excellent,
is.
excellent. That's really nice. And thank you, people who have written in. It's my passion. So when passion and profession comes together, it makes a great combination. That's really nice. Think over this over the night, that what motivates you, and reflect on that. That are you really making a difference? What you intend to do, are you really trying to do it? I'll give you a little example. Just a little. I'll give you small. I don't talk big. I don't use big words. That's not my style. You're coming for a workshop and half of you are sleeping. No way. You're going to be awake till 4:30. I promise you that. And very simple strategies. When we ask a question to a child, like Harshal, what is the color of the sky? Harshal says, is trying to think. Now, I'm not giving him that time to think. Harshal, you don't know the sky is blue. I'm giving the answer. Do not give the answer, because you're killing the child's creativity. Let him think. It's all right. Don't be in a hurry to give the answers, because when we give the answers, we do not allow a child to think. It is amazing the things children can think of and the children can talk of, and we do not allow them to say that. When children ask, a good teacher is when the children in your class ask you a lot of questions. That shows your connections with them, that shows your connect, and that shows you're giving them the freedom to ask the question. Think about you when you were a child. You had so many questions in your mind which were never answered. And this becomes, when we grow up, this becomes a skill. We sit in a conference, you ask in the conference, there are 400 people, you ask them, do you have any question? One hand goes up. It doesn't mean others don't have a question. They have a question, but they are scared that if they ask, maybe others will laugh or maybe it is wrong. So don't make the children, become that. Let them ask you a lot of questions. The sky is not always blue, right? The sky is gray, the sky is orange, the sky is red, the sky is dark gray. But we are taught in school, no, the sky is blue. Have you ever seen only a blue sky? We say stars are in the sky. In India, in Delhi, I've never seen a star in the sky. When I went to Australia, I was shocked, because when I looked up, actually what a teacher taught me, I could see so many stars. Why are we teaching them things which do not happen? Relate whatever you are teaching to real life. Everything should be connected. I asked a teacher the other day, I went to a class. This was a very funny incident. So I said, what are you learning? We are doing EVS. Wow, what are you learning? We're learning about plants. They went on and on and on. I said, what is the full form of EVS? They didn't know. So very important. The first thing you need to tell, why am I teaching you English? Why am I teaching you history? What is its relevance? How is it useful to you? Why do you need to study? Most of the children, this was a research done by Harvard. When children were asked, why do you study or why do you go to school? What they all said, to pass an exam. During the lockdown, everybody went online, right? All the schools were teaching online. The primary kids, till grade 5, children were missing school. They wanted to come back to school. Ask any child, 8th upwards, they didn't want to come to school, or they wanted to come to school because they were missing their friends. They were missing their friends. So did we not make any difference in their lives that they were missing us? And we are the most important part in a school. So when we are in the school, our whole energy, our whole thing, and there is no good teacher doesn't become with good strategies. It is a strategy which suits you. Like every child is different, every teacher is different. Whatever I may tell you, you'll have to do it in your own way, because you have your own connect. There is nothing which can be cut, copy, paste, and you can use it in your class. You have to innovate on that. And unless a teacher is innovative, the children will never be innovative. Unless the teacher reads, the children don't read. Unless a teacher, does research, children will never learn how to research. Now today the buzzword is data analysis. How many of us analyze data? How many of us, when a child comes to our class, hey, excellent, Kush raised her hand, very nice. PD cell, Kush, I love it. Because when a child comes to our class, why don't we take the last 3 years analysis and have a look why the child has done well or not done well? There's a beautiful video. I will share the link on the mail which has come to you. Please have a look at that video. It's called The Teddy Story. It is the most beautiful video I have ever seen about what is a good teacher. So very important that you have to think what motivates you. You teach what you are. What are you? Just close your eyes for a minute. Let me just stop sharing. We talk about mindfulness, right? I think it's again a big buzzword. Just all of you sit straight, close your eyes. Let's have our cameras on. I'm not going to judge you by your dress. It's all right because I love to see faces. Otherwise, you're just talking to this thing. Just sit straight, close your eyes. Focus here on the forehead. Just think of one child that really troubles you in your class. Think about that child. What are the kind of emotions coming in your mind? Is it anger, frustration, sadness? Let that emotion go down from your forehead to your nose, to your lips, to your neck, to your chest, to your tummy. Let it flow, whatever you are feeling, anger, frustration, whatever is coming to you. Just think, what is that one thing you could have done to make a difference, whichever child is troubling you? How you could have made his life better? There is no strategy, it's all about you. Slowly open your eyes. This is just 2 minutes, otherwise in a live workshop, I can do it for 10 minutes, but since it's only an hour and I want to do so many things, so please open your eyes. Think about that child. And all of us as teachers have that one child who irritates us to no extent. Do you agree? You can raise your hand. Yes, do you agree? And that child really bothers us. Try finding out what is it that is bothering him. All of us have a story. On the Facebook and Instagram, we put our smiling faces. Do we always smile like that? Ghar mein bhi ladai hoti hai, husband, wife ki, right? We are not always smiling. There is the same way children, when they come to school, they wear a mask. You don't know unless you connect with them what is their real story. I had a student, I remember, who didn't want to study. He was a very good student in 10th, 11th. He didn't want to study. I asked him, what is the reason? He said, my parents think I sell drugs, so I don't want to study. He was a rebel. And I had to work with his parents and his child. Do that. That is how, you must have heard of that story. There is a small kid and there is a big man who are standing on a beach. And this kid is there are a lot of starfish which have come on the beach. So he picks up the starfish and he starts throwing on the beach. In the sea. So this big man asks him, what are you doing? Aap ye kya kar rahe ho? You're trying to save the fish, but as if itne slow motion mein kitni fish save hoingi? He said, at least I will make a difference to one starfish. I will be able to save one life. When you are teaching in a class of 40 kids, 45, 30, 25, whatever, you may not make a difference in all children's life, but you will make a difference in at least somebody's life. So be proud of yourself, pat yourself, because you are the best. What you did in the 2 years lockdown, I wrote a huge post when parents were cribbing about how teachers are teaching and blah, blah, blah. And there was one parent who wrote, math teacher should be very good in English. How can a math teacher be good in English? Math teacher is supposed to teach concepts. Hindi teacher cannot be good in English. We need to be proud of our profession. Teachers are very scared of parents because हमें ये तो सिखाया नहीं जाता ना how to teach parents, right? Do you agree? Yes or no? But you need to be proud of your profession. You don't go to a doctor and say, when you fall ill, you don't go to a doctor and say, कि मुझे diabetes है, but I will tell you what medicine I require. The doctor tells us, right? And we respect that. Why can't teachers become like that? Why a parent has to tell us how to teach? See, आप मना करें या ना करें, ये सब schools में होता है. 40% पेरेंट्स are जो आके हमें बताते हैं कैसे पढ़ाना चाहिए. Do you agree? Yes or no? And this happens because we are not proud of our profession. We don't think you need to be confident. You are a teacher. You are a guru. So very, very important. Let's just go back to the screen and think about it, that what you teach, what you are, what are you? If you are optimistic, you will spread positivity. If you are negative, you will spread negativity. You are not a dictionary where you're supposed to know everything, but you have to make an effort. You're a facilitator. You make a difference. You guide them. You inspire them. You're not supposed to know everything. You cannot. You're not a Wikipedia. Na sab kuch bachche ne pucha, because for that there is Google. And so what is important, I will share, Sangeeta, I will share it on a mail. If I start looking right now, I will lose track. So I will share with you. Very, very important. Think about this. If a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. Try and find out. When a child joins, when a session starts, a very good idea is to do an assessment of the child. First is a diagnostic assessment of every child. पता तो चले ना वो कहाँ पे है. हम उनको मैथ पढ़ाने जा रहे हैं, हमें ये पता ही नहीं है कि उसका कॉन्सेप्ट ही क्लियर नहीं है. वी आर टीचिंग हिम, ही डजंट नो एडिशन एंड वी आर टीचिंग हिम मल्टीप्लिकेशन. आपने देखा होगा कि a child who's poor in math or English or any subject in grade 2, 3, 4 remains so throughout the school year. Why the child is not growing, why the child is not improving. So every time begin with a diagnostic assessment that helps you understand what is the level of the child, what he knows, what he doesn't know. Then you can plan your lessons around that. When you plan your lessons, there are three things very important. The learning objectives. What is the objective? What are you wanting to teach? क्यों पढ़ा रहे हैं हम? The learning outcomes. क्या outcome you expect करते हो? How much of percentage of kids will learn everything what you are teaching? So when you pay attention to those two aspects in your lesson planning, you will find that you are making a difference in a child's life. It is very, very important. That is what an educator is. That is the difference between a teacher and an educator. A teacher teaches the same way to everybody. Educator knows that counselor, DPS, ma'am, I don't know your name. I'm just taking it because I can see it on the screen. She is different. Bharati is different. Harshal is different. Everybody is different. How many of you can sing? Raise your hand. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of you got 100 out of 100 in math? Or 90% in math? Koi baat nahi, I will not take a test. Don't worry. And I will not tell your chairman. Just tell me how many of you. We all didn't, right? Then why are we rushing after the child? Do you think, you know how many people who have got 99% today are looking for a job? It's the average kids who are doing very well. And most of the CEOs of the company are the children who have done 60% or 65% because they were actually outstanding children who were standing outside the class who learned all the skills. When a child is troubling you in your class, think about it. He may be the future CEO. When you're teaching a class, you don't know who's the prime minister, who will become a prime minister of the country. Do you know? So make a difference, because कल वो बन गया तो वो आपको याद भी नहीं रखेगा, और याद रख लिया तो आप सोचो आपका नाम कहाँ होएगा. Now I'll tell you a little story. This is a reality. When Shah Rukh Khan became a big star around 15 years back, there was a teacher, he went to St. Columbus in Delhi. So this teacher came on Doordarshan, तब वही channel होता था कि oh, I taught this kid, he was a rock star. Shah Rukh Khan से पूछा गया, उसने कहा मुझे नहीं याद ये कौन teacher है. What is it? We are making a difference. There are different kind of children in our class. Make a difference when you enter a class. You have to utilize those 35, 40 minutes so effectively, but leave 5 minutes for reflection. हम reflect नहीं करते. You know what is reflection? We look in the mirror every day. Are we looking good? Are we wearing the right thing? As a teacher, get into the habit of reflection. At the end of the day, have I made a difference today? Was there some child I couldn't make a difference? How could I improve myself? Do the same with the children. Encourage them to reflect at the end of the day, where they fill up a little sheet or they write it down that what did I learn, what I could have learned better. It makes a lot of difference. हमने बच्चे से तो पूछा ही नहीं कि उसको क्यों समझ नहीं आया, but हमने उसको 0 marks दे दिए कि भाई तुम lifelong के लिए you are dumb. And there are a lot of kids like that. See, in schools, the top 10 and the lower 10, right? We pay a lot of attention to those kids. But jo average, which is the largest population in a school, is actually neglected, and they are the ones who become something in life because they have all the skills. So you have to understand that and focus on that. So let's just go back. Anybody has any questions, please feel free to write it because I have no problems in asking. The two essential questions is, what must students know and be able to do in order to be productive and successful in their world today? What must teachers know and be able to do to cultivate an environment to cultivate these skills? Think about these skills. Have you ever asked the children? This was a research I did recently with the kids. And this is what the children spoke. We are dependent on you to love and teach us. Please don't confuse us and hurt us in the name of discipline. Treat us with courtesy and respect if you want us to respect and obey you. Be good role models. All this was said by the children. And it is very important, it's very, very important to take a feedback. It's all right. It's all right to ask the children, did I teach well or did I not teach well? How will you improve yourself? You will be able to improve yourself when you ask the children because they are the ones who benefit by what you're doing in the class. And sometimes we give them so much of information that they are not able to handle it. There is a techie who has come from US and there's a gardener. They both have their houses next to each other. They both have beautiful gardens. दोनों पानी डालते हैं, दोनों best manure डालते हैं, and they take care of their gardens. Once a thunderstorm comes, the techies who had come from US, his garden is completely destroyed, while the other one's garden, the poor farmer's garden is, hale and hearty standing. So this techie gets very confused. He says, I bought the best manure from different countries. I did everything. How come so he goes to the farmer. He says, what happened? How come the whole garden got destroyed? The farmer said, you gave too much. I gave just enough so that the plants could withstand any kind of, storm. I didn't give them too much. And as teachers, we feed them with information. I'll tell you, the board exams are going on, right? And my school is a nodal center. Yesterday, I was taking around, there was this one kid, math paper, grade 10. Within 10 minutes, this guy had his head down and sitting. I asked him, he said, I'm nervous. I can't do it. He was from some other school, not from my school. I said, no, you can do it. You can do it. You will do it. And I encouraged him so much that at least 50% of the paper he did. I don't know that child. I don't even remember his name. What is important is, let's look at children as human beings. A mother keeps a child for 9 months in her tummy, and labor pain is the worst pain in the world. And then she comes to a school and gives the child and says, please make my child a happy, successful human being. Don't you think it is our responsibility to do that? It is our mission. It is our important. And how will we do that? When we continuously learn. When we continuously, 70% teachers don't read. Imagine if a doctor who's doing an operation doesn't know the latest research, he will probably make a mistake in the operation room. If teachers do not read, if you do not read about your subject, what are the new strategies, it's so much of learning. You have to take out, and people say, I don't have time, so much of checking. I don't know whether Gautam will remember, but I was a socialized to actually carry a suitcase to school because we used to have those big files. We used to say, it's our duty. ये थोड़ा ना कि checking है तो हम ये नहीं करेंगे, करना तो सब पड़ेगा. You have to do it because nobody went to you and said, hello, I want you to be a teacher, please come. You said you wanted to be a teacher. And if you wanted to be a teacher, you better make a difference to the child. Why do we say that in India, children are so scared, the number of suicide has increased, board exams are so fiery, parents stop the internet, teachers tell the parents, I took my son one day before the board exam for a movie. I said, kitna pad loge? How much can you study? Can you study? If I do this session for the next 4 hours, tell me honestly, wouldn't you sleep off? You're not going to be listening to me. You'll say, forget it, shut up. Because human mind after 20 minutes goes off. And that is why the periods are designed for 35 or 40 minutes. Because 5 minutes is recapitulation. 15 minutes is introduction of the topic, whatever you are doing. 10 minutes of formative assessment in the class, which is very important to know whether the children have understood what you are teaching. And the last 5 minutes should be reflection. You can ask them, you can put a board in your class because now it's all offline. You can ask the children rather than them asking questions. Sometimes in senior classes, they start bothering you. Ask them to write on a slip and stick it or put it in a box, which you can respond the next day. But ask them questions. Let them ask questions of what they have understood, what they have not understood. So let's just go back to the screen. Just one sec, please. This is not made up, all these remarks. This is from the actual children where I asked them that what is it you have in your mind? Okay, let's go to this screen. Quickly, I'll give you 30 seconds. Just read this and then I will ask you a question. 30 seconds only. Or 1 minute, okay. Only 1 minute. Yeah, okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. Anybody? What did you see? What did you read? Anybody? Yes, sir. Mukesh, sir. Okay. Somebody is writing green, yellow. It's a brain puzzle game, ma'am. So what was the first thing you read?
We saw the color, not the text.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Now, what was the mistake, sir? The mistake was I showed you a screen. It's a very important thing as a teacher, but I did not communicate to you whether I wanted you to read the colors or the text. So everybody read as per their own perception. And now I go out and I mark you wrong because I feel the first thing, let's just go back. I'll show you. The first is yellow, or you may have read it as green. It's your perception, right? Because I did not tell you what exactly I want. And that's the challenge we have when we are questioning the child, when we are creating a paper or when we're taking assessment. We don't tell them exactly what we want. So they write as per their own perception. So do you think if the first block is yellow, if the child says, is it wrong? No. But if he says green, is it wrong? No, because both are correct. So we need to be very, very clear of what we are asking them and what are we expecting. That is very important. Children, how do children learn? They learn when they have a good relationship with you. They are actively engaged. They learn when they are involved in their learning. And that is something very important. How do we involve them in their learning? Most of the time, I find, teachers are doing all the work. Everything we are doing, we don't let them do because we think we're looking for a perfect. Have you ever seen a pre-primary function? I go for so many functions. I'm trying very hard to change the mindset in my school also. I'm not saying it is 100%. वो बच्चों को रटा देते हैं, they come on the stage, good morning, and they rattled everything. And you ask the child, do you know what you're saying? He doesn't know. Are we looking for a perfect child or an imperfect child who's capable of learning? Decide. What fun if children were allowed to say on their own, speak on their own, speak out their mind, because what is that skill we want them to learn? Ability to communicate. Schools are supposed to teach 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, speaking, whatever way you want to put it. I'm not an English teacher, so I go wrong in that. But we only teach reading and writing. Listening, we never teach them. We don't teach them to listen. Have you ever sat in the class and said, okay, let's close our eyes and let's listen to the sounds we hear? It's very good for the brain development. We don't teach them to speak because the minute they speak, we say, shut up, keep quiet. I'm going to talk for 40 minutes and teach you. We do that, whether you accept it or no. I've also been a teacher and we do that because there's a pressure. Curriculum bhi khatam karna hai. But let's try and change that. Let's allow the child to listen. Listening is so important. Most of the top successful people, if you read their books, they say they are successful because they listen. They listen and they reflect, and then they are able to take a decision. So listening is a very, very important skill which we should try and develop amongst the children. Now, what is very important is, let me just go back to the screen. Very important is this slide. I really love it. What are you expecting? The role of expectation. Students will only give you what you expect from them. If you expect little, that's exactly what you're going to get. Don't be afraid to raise the bar. Tell them you can do it. Like today we had elections in our school. So I'm giving personal examples because that helps me to explain to you. So they said, no. Teacher said, junior school elections, ma'am, no, these kids are very small. I said, no. So there were around 45 kids who stood for head boy. Then the teachers again came. How can we have 45 kids for head boy? Ma'am, let's select. America, no, let them stand. Let them create their logos and go around campaigning. Then they said, what about the other posts? Nobody has opted. I said, you send it again. No, on those posts, only one kid. Then the teachers again confusion. Agar 45 बच्चे सारे head boy में घुस गए, वो तो ma'am cream है. उन्हीं को देना है. I said, what is the cream of a school? I want to know. How have you judged that this is the cream? By marks? Do you agree? Did we all get 100 out of 100? It's so sad. I said, no. And you had to see the glee in the children's faces when 45 kids standing for a head boy. What am I teaching them? The skill, it's all right. I can always not come first. We have to teach them that. We have to teach children how to fail. I cannot come first always. There's always somebody better than me. The difference between the first and the second, you can quote that Olympic guy, is only 0.001 second. And we have to teach them that. Don't teach them to compete. Teach them to appreciate that there is somebody better than us. Always. We have to focus on the skills more than the knowledge. Knowledge, anybody can teach. What are the skills we are trying to teach? So when you're making a lesson plan, write the skills which are there, which are important. What am I trying to teach? Am I teaching them empathy? So I'll tell you another thing. I joined this school. See, don't quote me anywhere, please. Now, the whole plants are like dying, and there's a board saying, touch me, feel me. Where are the plants? They're all dead because it's so hot. And there is an environment club which shows me a trophy they have won. I said, bullshit. You need to first take care of your environment, then go outside and talk. Ghar to sambhalne apna. And you have to see now the kids are watering the plants. They're excited. The teachers are saying, no, they're missing their studies. I said, no, they're not missing their studies. They're learning. They're learning there. They're learning the empathy. They're learning how to take care of their environment. Isn't that important? Tell me. We walk in Singapore, we don't throw a thing. We walk in India, we throw everything. Is it right? Why do we follow it there? Because those schools teach them the skills. We focus in the early years on the knowledge, and we start telling the little ones, Arey, abhi to bahut chota hai, chota bachcha hai. I'll give you a little example. I was heading an American school as a director. We had a lot of foreigners. So when an Indian parent would come for admission, unke bacche wahan toys hote the, they will drop. The Indian parent will be so apologetic. I'm so sorry, and they'll pick it up. While the Spanish couple came, their kids dropped, and this lady tells me, the mother, Miss Shalini, you'll have to give me 10 minutes because the kids will pick up. And she made her own kids pick up everything. What did she teach them? The skill, important skill, that we take care of our things ourselves. Extremely important. So have high expectations. Yes, you can do it. Don't tell somebody that children usually say, you ask them, okay, what is your goal in life? I want to be this, I want to be an engineer. And generally, I'll give you a little example. My son is from a very regular DPS school, and there was this girl, Harleen, there. I still remember. So she was a very normal-looking girl, and her English teacher, like usual, no, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she wrote, I want to be Miss India. And the whole class laughed at her, and everybody put her down. And when she actually became Miss India, I heard my son and his friends talking, oh shit, yaar, we should have remained friends with her. Don't laugh at anybody because the child who's saying, uski dream ko encourage karo, usko bolo nahi aap kar sakte ho. Aap kar sakte ho. People have done it. People with no legs are dancers. How there was somebody who gave them a pat on their back and said, yes, you can do it. So try and focus on that. And let me just go back to the screen. I know it is just 5 minutes left, but I want to end. I want to show you a few things, and then we can, I'll end with a beautiful story for you. So one sec, yeah. Let me just go back again. And sorry, I'm taking some time. Can you see the screen? Which of these is the odd one out? Quick, 30 seconds. You can write it in the chat quickly. Which of these is the odd one out? Yeah, you can write quickly. Okay, Cinderella. Okay, yeah. Now let's go to the name. Name them. She had long, beautiful hair. Quickly. Just write. Yeah, name. She lived with a stepmother and 2 stepsisters and went to the, king's grand ball. She lived with 7 dwarfs, Rapunzel, Tangle, wrong spelling of eraser, Cinderella. Very nice. I love the way your replies are coming. What are these? These are just simple examples of starters. Whenever you start a lesson, I call this generation the Netflix generation. How many of you watch Netflix? I'm an addict. But yes. मेरे तो बिल्कुल 9 to 11 I just watch Netflix. I'm an addict. And when you watch Netflix, how do you decide which movie to watch? You watch the first 10 minutes. If it is interesting, you watch. Same way your class. If in the first 10 minutes you can catch the audience, your class, you will have all children engaged. Have these starter activities, 1-second activities. It doesn't have to be related to your syllabus. It can be anything. Have a question of the day. How long does a child who studied till grade 12 know how much does her hair grow in one day? Try asking them that. Ask them crazy questions, because that gives them the ability to think. They think out of the box. How many bristles are there in a comb? Let them run around and count it and come back to you. That encourages problem solving. And this is what is the key for our success as a teacher. When you give them those skills, imagine you're working in a corporate. What is the difference amongst what happened? My screen, can you see my screen? Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the difference? Who becomes the CEO of a company? Who can think out of the box? Who finds a solution, right? And that is what we need to encourage amongst the children, that find a solution to the things. I am just going to go to this slide. Are you the one? Do we make a difference? Absolutely every day. The question to ask ourselves is, what kind of difference do I want to make today in the lives of my students, their parents, my colleagues, and my profession? Where do you see yourself? I will tell you this story. Would you rather be a carrot, egg, or coffee bean? But before that, do goal setting for yourself. What is your goal? Have you tried? Set a goal for yourself. In 5 years, where do you see yourself? I don't mean position-wise. I don't mean money-wise. I want to ask you, reflect on that. Where do I see myself? How? What kind of a teacher? How many children I would impact? Put a timeline to your thing. You will see that you will achieve it. And think about this beautiful story. So there's this girl who's very troubled, and she goes to her dad and she says, I'm very unhappy. So the father takes her to the kitchen and he puts 3 bowls of boiling water. In one, he puts the carrot. In the second, he puts the egg. In third, he puts the coffee. Now, what happens to the carrot when it faces trouble? It becomes limp. When carrot falls in the boiling water, it becomes limp. The egg becomes hard from outside and is soft from inside. Why it happens? And some people are like carrot. They become, whenever there is trouble, oh God, I can't do these new things, forget it. Some people, you must have seen some teachers, they become very hard when there is an indisciplined class, but they are soft from inside. But coffee, it changes not only the color of the water, it changes the aroma of the room. And that is what a good teacher does. She encourages, she motivates, she creates that environment. She believes that every child will be successful, which is under her care. All the best. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you all.
What a mesmerizing session that was.
It was truly something that we all will take back. And I can say this for sure. You were amazing back then in school. You're amazing back, here. And I remember you in school to be a very progressive lady, and you just, kind of done justice with this session so well. And I'm sure I want teachers to speak up if they have anything to add here. But I'm
Yeah.
totally blown over by this session. The 1 hour, how it crossed, I just didn't get to know. Such an amazing session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and all the best. Let's become the coffee and let's change the education system, and I'm sure you will be able to see the difference. Thank you all so much for such beautiful remarks. God bless you all. I'm humbled, truly humbled. Thank you. Thank you, Gautam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shalini. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Ma'am, the link. The link
Sorry?
of the video, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, teachers,
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
joining in. Thank you so much, everyone.